Today's video is going to be a little different. I can't remember who I got the idea from, but I've been trying to keep up with a project pan, and because of that video specifically, it made me want to do this video, which is going to end up being a video about makeup products that are on the chopping block. So I guess we can just get started. I literally have an entire bucket full here of makeup that I'm going to talk about. So let's get started. So since, as I was stating earlier, the first thing that I kind of want to talk about, because it's in reference to my project pan, is this guy. This product is the J1 Jelly Pack. It's very, very tacky, but the product itself I just don't use anymore. It's pretty old, and I don't really have a reasoning for not wanting to use this, other than this just is not how I do my makeup anymore. I don't wear my makeup in the way that I would wear this product. So this is absolutely a makeup product on the chopping block. I really just don't get any use out of this. I don't enjoy using it. I've stated that in my most recent project pan update. So I'm gonna try and use this for another month. In my project pan video, I said it started spitting at me recently, so I'm hoping that means I'm almost done with it. But it's kind of hard to tell since it's an airless pump, so you can't open it and see how much product is left. So we will see. It's definitely something I don't enjoy using. So because of that, it's definitely on the chopping block for me. I'm gonna give it a month. I'm gonna give all these products a month, and then we're going to see how I feel after that month, and if I'm going to end up keeping them and continue using them, or if I'm going to declutter them. Next product also is part of my project pan, and it is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Foundation Fluid. I have this in the shade Supernatural RG10. It's a very light color for me, so it's hard for me to wear this most days, but it's very full coverage, and not only that, it's very dewy, and it's extremely hard, at least for me personally, to wear a very full coverage and very dewy foundation. I am getting older than when I first bought this. I bought this quite a few years ago, so I think I just don't think it works for my skin anymore. You know, my skin is only getting older, and this definitely is more of a product that works better for more youthful skin. So again, I'm gonna give this about a month. I am really close to finishing it. I had marked somewhere, I said I was between the I and the B in my most recent project pan video, and I'm still probably around there because I haven't used any of this. But I'm gonna give it a month. I'm gonna try and use it a couple different ways, and if I still do not enjoy it, I'm going to declutter it. Oh, I'm so mad that I didn't just return this guy, but I didn't. I got this sent to me for free. This is the Sephora by Ebates tinted mineral sunscreen. I have this in the shade Light. This is reef friendly, which is the reason why I wanted it. That it's tinted and it's a mineral sunscreen. That was pretty much the only reason why I wanted this product. I was so excited when I received this from Sephora. It's the reasons why it is on the chopping block. The first reason, because when I first bought it, and the reason why I don't use it, is it smells so bad. It is so heavily scented. Some of the ingredients in here, which is why I think it's such a strong smell. There's coconut oil, rosemary leaf extract, and cinnamon oil, cinnamon bark oil. This is a very, very heavily scented product. I don't know how anybody with sensitive skin is going to be able to wear something like this, because the amount of scented oils that are in this product is absurd. There are so many, and it's such a strong smell. It's a very oil-based sunscreen, so it stays oily on your skin. Now, that doesn't necessarily bother me, but I know that could bother a lot of other people. Second reason why it's on the chopping block. If I don't shake this up, I want to show you what this product does. And this is after shaking it up a little bit. It's pretty separated. I don't know how well you can tell on camera. But this is so scented and pretty greasy. Oh my God, it smells like you walked into a like a candle business, candle making business. It's such a strong scent, and it's really, really hard to just kind of like rub into the skin. It stays pretty dewy, pretty tacky. The more I use this product, thankfully, the more I get used to the scent. But oh my dear God, this scent is so strong. It is a really nice glowy look on the skin, but I don't think that is worth it. The scent alone is just the reason why it's on the chopping block. I want to try and give myself a whole month of using this. You know, it's very, very warm down here where I live now, so thankfully, you know, I can give myself the option to be able to use this a lot. But I think, you know, if I'm really fighting myself and not using this over the next month, I'm going to have to get rid of it. Okay, here are two eyebrow products that are on the chopping block, and they're both technically for the same reason. I always talk about how I only ever use the Anastasia Beverly Hills medium brown dip brow pomade. It's a really good color match for me. It's, you know, one of my favorite formulas. I really enjoy using that formula. I really like the formula of this one. This one is from the brand Lord and Berry. It's their Perfect Brow Magic Pencil Definer. This is the shade Brunette. I really like, one of my favorite parts of this is the spoolie. I really like how big and thick the spoolie is. It really helps pushing up the brows and keeping them in a specific direction. But my issue with this is the color match is not a good color match, at least not for me. It's very warm toned, and I have very cool toned brows, so it pulls very it almost looks red or auburn on me. That's not my color brow at all. So it's really hard to wear this because of the color it pulls. I might try and use it a couple more times, but because it's not a good color match, it's hard for me to try and use this over my dip brow. I think I'm just going to give it to my sister, because my sister has much lighter and more auburn red color hair than I do. So I think this would be a good product that she would enjoy, and it would be a better match for her. So we'll see. This guy I don't like using as well. I didn't mind it for a while. It's waterproof, which is like my favorite thing about this. Again, it's on the chopping block because of the color match. I'm going to try and use this for when I go to the pool. I think that's the best way I'd want to wear this. This is Foreign Coast Eyebrow Tattoo Precision Pen. It's in the shade Ash Brown. When I chose this color, I was thinking to myself, like, that sounds like a great color match for me, and it's not. I really like the pen, the version of the pen. It's got these four little spikes on them, so it really helps with creating brush-like strokes. And I don't know how well it's going to pick up on camera, but the reason why it's not a good color match is it tends to look very green in the front of my eyebrows, which is not what you want when filling in your brows. You don't want green eyebrows, and this, for whatever reason, pulls really, really green in my hair. So I'm gonna give it a couple more chances, a little longer. It's gonna be in this container for my chopping block for the month. I'll be in the pool for a while since it's pretty hot out down here, and we will go from there. Okay, next I'm going to do some lipsticks. All these are in my chopping block because of their color. I actually enjoy the formula and all of the lip products that I have, and I've just recently done a lipstick declutter, so I'll leave that up in the card if you're curious. This is just a deluxe size. This is from the brand Buxom, and it's the shade Sultry Mauve. Now, I don't think Buxom even makes these lipsticks anymore, which just shows like how long this has been in my collection. Here's the shade of it. My reasoning for why I don't like this is I don't use these pink tones anymore. I'm just not a big pink, like neutral pink, mid-tone pink lipstick wearer. I just don't like those colors, so it's really hard for me to try and get use out of this. But I'm gonna have it here for a whole month. I'm gonna try and get some use out of it and see how I feel in a month. Next up, again, these are all for the same reason, because of their color choice. This is the brand Bite Beauty. This is their Amuse Bouche lipstick. I have this one particularly in the shade Licorice. I love the formula of these. This is a fantastic formula, and I am a big lover of dark red vampy lips. I love this color, but I don't like it in a cream lipstick formula. That's my only issue. So it's really hard for me to get any use out of any of my lipsticks right now because we're still wearing masks. I don't know. It's just hard for me to get any type of use out of this. And again, it's just a deluxe size, so there's really not that much product in this anyways. But, you know, it's just something I really need to try and figure out if it can stay in my collection or not. This one is from Pixie Beauty. I just got this sent to me not too long ago. It is their like tinted lip balm. This is what it looks like. It's the shade Peach Pout. I don't mind the formula. I think the balm stick itself is very, very stiff, very hard. A lot of these like tinted balms are a little bit more like smooth to apply, and this doesn't really have the same application as the rest. Obviously, it's really, really sheer. That's one of the reasons I actually like it, but it's one of those that tint when the product stays on your lips longer, and it tends to stain the entire area around my lips if it gets outside of my lip area, and it stains it to this really obvious peach color. So I'll leave that on my hand so you can see how bright it actually does get. Hopefully it'll show up on camera for you as well. All right, let's talk about some eyeshadow singles products. So I have 3 here. They're all from different brands. This one is the Cream Shadow Pot from Kylie Cosmetics. This is very old. This is from her winter 2016 collection. So it's clearly old. It's in the shade Golden Plum. I adore the other 2 shades that are in this collection. I actually really like this shade too. This is still super creamy, which is very surprising. So you can see what it looks like on my finger. My issue with this is how it applies and stays on the lids. The base of this is obviously very, very dark, almost gray, bordering black, but I love these like golden shimmers that are in it. My problem is it tends to look extremely, extremely patchy if there's no primer down on your lids, and if you try and use this with any other powder eyeshadow, it immediately starts looking patchy and it just doesn't look right. So this is hard to wear this product because it's one of those products that you pretty much have to only wear this one and that's it. You can't really wear anything else with it, and that's kind of frustrating. So I'll give it this month, see if I, can get any use out of it, and if that use leads me to enjoying this product again, or if I really just decide that I don't like it at all. And it's kind of frustrating because what it looks like in the pan is so pretty, and it just does not translate on the eyes like this, or even on the swatch. It doesn't translate that well. So that's why this guy is on the chopping block. Next up is this product. I got this sent to me from, I can't remember what company sent this to me, but it's from the brand Cargo Cosmetics. It's one of their longwear shadow sticks. They're swimmables longwear shadow sticks. You can quite literally swim in this and it's not going to come off. It's water resistant. It's in the shade Morro Bay. The reason why this is in the chopping block is for no specific reason other than I don't wear this color. This is how much I've used out of it. It's still above the component, like the twist component. Let me swatch it here. And it's surprising because it's a very similar color to the Golden Plum. It's just more opaque. That's actually kind of interesting seeing those 2 next to each other. But again, it's just such a dark color. It's really, really hard for me to figure out when and where, or even just how often I'm going to wear something like this. So yeah, I'll give it these next couple weeks, see how I like it, if I get any more use out of it. And if I don't, I'm sure I can easily pass this along to. So this guy is interesting. I actually have 2 of these. These are the Maybelline Color Tattoo Eye Chrome, liquid shadows, and I really like these. This is, like I said, I have 2 of these, but I only have 1 in my makeup on the chopping block. This is the shade Bronze Sheen. This is stunning. I love this color in particular, but it is getting pretty old, if I say so myself. This is one of my favorite shadows to use as like a one and done shadow look. Super, super pretty. Just looks good. My issue with this is it's very old. one of the older products in my collection, and I just don't get much use out of this anymore because I have so many other similar products like this, similar products to this, that I enjoy more. So I'm gonna get the two that I'm thinking of right now so I can compare them for you. There are two products right away that I would compare this product to, and this, it's particularly this color. The first one is from the brand Ilia. It's also one of their like cream liquid eyeshadows. This color from Ilia is the shade Fresco. It's called their liquid powder chromatic eye tints. I really enjoy the Ilia formula. It's not as like metallic or shimmery as the one from Maybelline, but it has a very similar color look to it. It's just a little bit more neutral instead of warm. So there you can see it. Again, it's a similar color, so I tend to reach for this color more just because it is more neutral. It's not as dark as well, and the formula is just a little bit easier to use as well. Another product that is very, very similar to the Maybelline Color Tattoo is this one, and it's from Kosas. This 10-second eyeshadow, this particular shade is the color Globe. This is stunning. If I want any type of liquid golden shiny eyeshadow, I'm reaching usually for this one. So let me shake it up so I can actually show you what it looks like. Again, this is just a formula that I am thoroughly obsessed with. So I'll put it right here. Again, it's not like it's a total color dupe, but this is a really easy formula to work with, and it's so much more shiny and metallic looking than the Maybelline one, and there's no dark base to it, so it really does stand out on the lids a lot more. So yeah, I'm gonna try and give this guy a couple more chances here. Like I said, I have so many other products in my collection now that are so similar to this, so it's hard, you know, as my collection grows, it's hard for me to keep a lot of things, especially if I haven't gotten any use out of them recently, and we'll see how I feel about it in a month. Okay, I have a few random things here. I'm going to put them all out on the floor. I think I want to talk about this first. This is the Makeup Revolution Luxury Baking Powder. It's in the shade Banana. The reason why I have this on the chopping block is the color is a little bit too dark for me to use often. It's very yellow, which is fine, but it actually is a very, very dark powder, especially difficult for me to use in the winter time. So it's really, really hard. It's just really hard for me to use. I wish it was just a little bit lighter and then I could use it more often. But the formula itself is really good. That's why it's hard for me to decide what I want to do with this. And the packaging kind of sucks because if you have, you know, any amount in the lid, how are you going to get it back in the container? So I'm hoping, you know, once I get a little bit more tan, that I'll get some more use out of it this summer. So like I said, I'll give it about 1 month, see how I enjoy using it, and see if it'll stay in my collection. This is the Smashbox Step by Step contour stick, and this is the highlight shade. This came with 2 other contour sticks. It came with a bronze and a contour. This is just one of those things where I think to myself, what am I possibly going to use this for that I can't just use a concealer for? And that's where I'm at with this. You know, I want to really just genuinely try to use this as a cream highlighter, maybe as a base, and then putting like a powder highlight on top of it. So we'll see how that goes. This is, oh, this is so upsetting. This is the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I have this in the shade Porcelain. This is a very, very light color. And I surprisingly don't have that much left. I don't use this anymore. I can't remember the last time I used this. I truly think it's been well over a year. Like I said, it's, if you can't tell, it's extremely light for my skin tone even right now, and I've only really been out in the sun a few times, so it's not like I've, you know, it's not like I've gained a lot of color. My issue with this is it makes my skin look very, very, very textured on my face. So I really want to try and mess with this a little bit more and see if there's a better way for me to use this. Maybe my skin just needs to be pretty dewy or hydrated. I don't really know. But I just don't get any enjoyment using this, and it is very, very old. So I don't know. We'll see. So far, I'm just not enjoying it. I never reach for this product ever. All right, and this guy, if you just recently saw my Project Pan series, I rolled this product into that collection of items. This is the Super Flick eyeliner from Makeup Revolution. I do not like this formula. The only reason why this is even in my collection at this very moment is because I have it in my Project Pan, and that's pretty much where I'm at with this. It's on the chopping block. I might totally just get rid of this guy. I don't know how else to talk about this. This product is very jet black, and I enjoy that it's in packaging like this. I like the wand and well packaging the most, but this eyeliner stays very shiny looking, which, you know, that's not the end of the world. That's fine. I can deal with that. My issue with this is when it dries down completely, you can feel it on your eyes. It is so, it feels so weird. It feels like it's about to dry and crack all over your eyes, but like it feels thick on your eyelids, and it really isn't a thick formula. At least I don't think it's a thick formula, but it feels that way. And trying to remove this product at the end of the night is actual hell. It's the worst thing to remove at the end of the night. I've tried literally everything, and it just smears on your entire, you know, eye area surface. It's really, really hard to remove without pretty much pulling at your delicate skin in and around your eyes. This is pretty new still in my collection. I just know I don't enjoy the removal process of it. It's on the chopping block. I know I have it in my Project Pan, but I've used it the last day or so, and I've absolutely hated using it. So I'm going to give it the solid month in this chopping block time frame to really see if this is something I can just deal with to keep in my Project Pan series, or if I really just can't do it and I'm gonna declutter. So I guess you'll find out in a month. I think next up I'm going to talk about some face palettes that are on my chopping block. So let me get them out for you. And right here is the Sephora blush palette. There's no particular reason why this is in the chopping block other than I don't use this product. The main reason why I don't use this is I don't use these shimmer shades. I rarely ever use shimmer blushes. I did like these two shimmer shades because they are actually pretty unique and they're kind of these really pretty bronze tones. Let me swatch it. Like, they do look really pretty, although they do feel very powdery now. It could just be that that's how they are, or you know, it's just been in my collection for so long that it's gotten more powdery over time. But the reason why I like this palette so much is for this shade in particular. I've used and abused this shade. I really enjoy this shade, but to keep this shade, or to keep this palette just for this shade is, I mean, pointless in my eyes, but it is a really pretty color, if I do say so myself. Like I said, I'm just gonna try and use this up a little bit, and if I still feel the same way after a month, I am just going to get rid of it. Same with the rest of these three palettes. These three, the Kevyn Aucoin and the two Pixie palettes, are very new in my collection. Let me open up the ones from Pixie. And this one from Kevyn Aucoin. Okay. So I'm in a pickle with the one from Kevyn Aucoin. This is beautiful. It's really expensive, so it's really hard for me to just be like, I'm getting rid of it. So that's why it's in the chopping block. I really do enjoy this color of blush, but I never reach for it because it's in a palette form. If this was just a single, I would reach for it way more. I don't enjoy that there's 3 different sculpting colors. I am one person. My skin color does not change that drastically, where I'd have to go from a light sculpting color to a deep sculpting color. I will never ever use this color ever. And then these two highlights are just kind of subpar. They look pretty powdery. I don't know how well you can see that. To me, they look very powdery. This is how they look on a swatch. So in my eyes, there's way better formulas than these two. And they do show up, at least this darker one shows like up on my face as a shadow. So it's kind of hard to choose to go for one of these highlighters in my collection over everything else that I own. I only ever use the light sculpting palette, so this is definitely a product that's on the chopping block. I really want to get some use out of this. I know this is a really, really good product. I don't use it, and it's kind of frustrating because it really is wonderful, and it's so expensive. It's Kevyn Aucoin. It's really, really expensive. So lastly, I have these two quads from Pixie Beauty. This one on my left, in my left hand, is definitely more of warmer tones, and this one in my right hand has more cooler tones. Again, I just don't ever reach for products and palettes. If they're in singles, I am more inclined to reach for them. The second thing that I was kind of disappointed about were the highlighter shades in here. When I first received these from Pixie, I was so excited to receive these. This looked like a fantastic bronzer color, and it actually is pretty good. You know, these looked like two really pretty spring and summertime blush colors, but these highlighters I was so excited to try out because they look like the glowy Gossamer the Glowy Gossamer Duo highlighters that I adore, but they are a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? They are just so much more hard pressed than those highlighters that I'm absolutely adore. That's the pink shade, and that's the more champagne shade. So that's what they look like swatched out on the skin. They just aren't as impactful, and it really bummed me out because I thought these were going to be exactly like the Glowy Gossamer Duos, and they're not. Here's the finger swatches on the warmer one. This is the pink. And if anything, that pink is pretty blinding, but it's so pink. It's more of like a shadow or a blush topper. And then this gold just doesn't show up. It's a bummer. They're just not anywhere nearly as impactful as I thought they would be. So that is why they are on the chopping block. There's better products out there than these, but I really want to give a good shot, at least these two products and these two products, the more blush colors, because I really do think they're good tones for the spring and summertime. So I really want to try and get some use out of these over this next month and really form a more solid opinion. I'm not a huge powder blush person anymore. I definitely prefer a cream blush, but the actual formula of these is pretty soft, which is at least good to know. And they look really pretty on the skin. They're really bright, fun colors. I'll swatch the more bronzy tones. This is just like the perfect bronze nude shade. And I think out of everything, the bottom left colors are going to be the ones that I reach for the absolute most because they're just more me tones. So give me a month or I'll decide to keep either one or both of them. I'm just not sure yet. The 3 cream liquid blush formulas in my collection that are on the chopping block. Oh, this pains me talking about these. First off, these two I purchased myself. They're both more affordable options. This is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush. I have this one in the shade 370 Butterflies. This one is from Maybelline. It's their Cheek Heat Sheer Gel Cream Blush. I have this in the shade number 10 Pink Scorch. And this one I just got sent to me about a month ago. It's from Freck Beauty. It's their Cheek Slime Lip and Cheek Tint. And I have it in the shade Cuffed. Oh boy, you guys. This guy for sure is on the chopping block because I don't like this. I can't find a good way to use this, to wear it. It's a very finicky formula for me, and it's frustrating because I was so excited to get this and to try it. Every time I swatch it out, whether it's on camera or not, it looks way better than it does applying it in person. And I literally don't know how that's possible, but that is the shade color. It's a really pretty natural color, but I don't know if this product just dries down so much faster than everything else that it makes it almost impossible to not look patchy. It's really patchy, but I do want to give it another full month in my collection to see if I can find a way to use this, a better way to apply it, and if I don't, then I'll end up decluttering this guy, unfortunately. This guy performs in a very similar way as the Freck Beauty. the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Cream Blush, but particularly the shade is what I am not enjoying as much. I like the formula if I remember to actually blend it out fast enough. And it's interesting because this is a pretty close color match to the one from Freck. It just has a different like look on the skin, and you can kind of tell it's more of a sheen, it's more shiny, but it's definitely nowhere near as opaque or doesn't have nearly as much color pigment as the one from Freck has. So this can, you know, when it's not in direct sunlight, it looks very odd and patchy, and I think that's from the shimmers in it, like the sheen in the blush. So it's really disappointing because this kind of was more expensive. I want to say this was around $12 or $13 at the drugstore. I would really like to try a different color of this because I love cream blushes. I just don't enjoy this color in particular. And this one is very similar to, it's a sheer product, so it's very hard for people to get this to show up on them. I'm gonna put it right here on my wrist. I adore this color. This is one of my favorite blush colors, this like Barbie baby pink tone. Like I said, this is very, very sheer. This product actually is one of my favorite products to wear alone without a foundation on. It's very, very sheer, but a lot of people don't like wearing it because it is so sheer. It's almost difficult for them to wear it, but that's why I enjoy it. I enjoy it because it's so sheer. The reason why it's on the chopping block is I have a ton of colors and formulas very, very similar to this one from Maybelline, so it's hard for me to reach for this product when I have a ton in my collection that are just so similar to it. So that is why it's on the chopping block. These are all of my eyeshadow palettes that are on the chopping block. I want to give you know, just a brief overview of all of these. This is from Makeup Revolution. I just got this sent to me less than a year ago. I want to say about 6 months ago. I love the shimmer formula in here. These are actually wonderful shimmer shadows. They perform pretty well, especially for the price point that this palette is at. My issue with this palette is the mattes. The mattes are very, very sheer, so it's hard to create any type of look that's even remotely even has any depth to it. Like this is the darkest shadow in the palette, and all the rest are really, really light compared to that, besides that dark one. So it's a really one-noted type of palette. But I want to give it some love this month. If I still find, you know, I'm just not reaching for it, I just don't enjoy it the way I enjoy the rest of my other palettes, then I'll get rid of this guy. One right on top is from Crown Brushes Pro, Crown Pro. I got this in a BoxyCharm, and this palette is actually pretty used and abused. I really like the tones in this palette. They're very basic, but I think that's why I like them so much. The shimmers in here are really nice. I really love the shimmers. And then this matte specifically is like my all-time favorite, like camel color. They're really impactful shades. They look really good on the eyes. It's just this palette is getting a bit old in my collection, but there's other palettes out there that are this color scheme. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep this around and see how I feel in a month. It's BH Cosmetics Carly Bybel Deluxe Edition palette. So I've hit pan obviously on 3 shades. Those are the 3 shades that I've used the most in this palette. I really don't like the shimmers in here. The only 2 shimmers I ever really reached for was this light pink one and this more like mauvey silvery purple color. The rest of them I don't reach for. I don't reach for pinks like this, like bronzer colors I don't reach for. My big thing about this palette and what I'm debating and why it's on the chopping block is these highlights, these 6 highlights. I love these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in particular because this one's too dark. I love this formula of highlighters, but I don't want to keep this whole palette just for a couple highlighters, especially if I'm not enjoying any of the eyeshadows anymore. So I'm gonna keep it around. We're gonna see how I feel. Again, I feel like I say that with every product I've been talking about, but this product particularly is on the chopping block because the only thing I really enjoy about using this palette anymore are the highlighters, and I never reach for them because I have a ton of single highlighters in my collection. I reach for more because they're in single pan form. So, Fetish eyeshadow palette. I was so excited to get this palette, to buy it, to receive it, like to finally get my hands on it. I feel certain ways about this as I do that Makeup Revolution palette. So let me just open this up. I love the packaging of this palette. I also really, really love the color story. It's very dark and impactful. My issue and why this is on the chopping block is I only like certain colors in here anymore. I really like only specific shimmers. So this is Blindfold, this is Deviant, and they're really pretty tones, okay? Let me swatch it out. The tones are really, really pretty. Like they're literally stunning to look at. They swatch beautifully. They actually look really good on the eyes. But then you get shades like Latex and Whip that are just not it. Let me swatch Whip and let me swatch Latex. The reason why this entire palette is so dirty is because of these 2 colors. So this is what they look like swatched on the finger. And let me put them, oh God, you see that? I literally just turn it over and stuff falls everywhere. This is Latex and this is Whip. They are very, very dark black bases with colored shimmer. And I do not like that formula. It is very messy. It is very hard to work with. It turns very, very, very patchy on the eyes very fast. A big reason why, and it is the main reason why this palette is on the chopping block, because I literally don't want to open or use this palette because of these 2 shades. Now, these colors are very not unique anymore in my collection. Like these 3 reds here, I have in my Huda Beauty red palette, my Ruby palette. These purples are not that unique anymore. These greens, especially the greens, I have so many greens in my collection now that these greens, these 2, they're not unique anymore. At the time when I first bought this, they were. My favorite part about this palette are these 2 shadows, Chastity and Submissive. They're like these flaky shimmer shades, and boy, are they pretty. Let me swatch it. There's just something about them that I love. And because of these two shimmer shades and these two shimmer shades, it's really hard for me to want to part with this palette. But I need to be realistic. This is going to be put on the chopping block because I can't keep this palette just for a couple shades in the entire thing. I really only enjoy a few shades, so I want to get some use out of this, maybe create some looks, and see if my enjoyment and my love for this palette come back. The last product I'm going to talk about, this big boy, is from Morphe Brushes. If you couldn't tell by what it says on the front, this is a Morphe 35 pan palette. This is the original Morphe 350. This Morphe 350 palette is on the chopping block. This is so hard for me to say this. This is such a cult classic, and for good reason. It's a great, easy, user-friendly palette. If this palette were condensed to only a few colors, and let me pick out the colors. If this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pan all matte palette, I would not be parting with this. I would never part with it. These are fantastic shades. I also really like this like yellowy brown shade. It's just very repetitive, and this is old. I mean, I've hit pan in 2 shades already. 1, 2. This is one of my favorite matte all over the lid shades. So I find it difficult to want to part with this. Some of the shimmers in here too, by the way, are fantastic. Like this shimmer down here, I know it's just a brown, but holy moly, these are so like softly pressed. They're so foiled. You see that? Like for being this cheapo palette, like the shimmers are really good. And so are the mattes. The mattes are really, really blendable and easy to use. If I can get my hand in some of them. I'll just swatch 3 of them. So like I said, the mattes are really, really easy to use. They're really blendable. They're pretty sheer, so it's easy to build them up. But man, I just love these freaking shimmers in this palette. They're so good, and they're so basic. Like they are the most basic shimmer shades ever, but I love them. Oh man, it's so hard for me to look at this and be like, yeah, I can keep this, because I do have these shades in a lot of my eyeshadow palettes. I think really the only 3 shades that are super unique is this yellowy tone, this light gray, and then this yellow brown color. Those really are only the 3 unique shades in this palette. And I can't keep a whole palette just for a couple shades. So I'm going to try and give this love and see whether or not if I get rid of it. All right, you guys, that is everything. This is 27 products that are on the chopping block. And as much as I would like to say that I'm just going to declutter all of these things, I know that's not me. that's just not realistic to me to do. I would not find enjoyment in just saying, yeah, get rid of all this. I know I have a huge collection, but that's hard for me to do because I spent my hard-earned money on 90% of this stuff. So this is all going to stay in that bucket that they were originally in, and I'm just gonna really, really try my hardest to decide if they're going to stay in my makeup collection or not. So I hope this was interesting. I've seen Hannah Louise post and doing a ton of like makeup on the chopping block videos, and I love those. I find them really interesting, and the reasoning as to why people decide certain things is interesting to me. So yeah, we'll see what I decide. I can't say that I'm gonna do that good, but we'll see how I do. Thanks, you guys. I hope I can catch you in my next video. There should be some recommendations popping up here on either side, so go check them out as well. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.